Life is a steady climb upwards, an awe-inspiring journey that stretches beyond the horizons of our dreams. With each step we take, we ascend towards the pinnacle of our potential. Just like a mountain ascent, life presents us with steep slopes, treacherous paths, and unforeseen obstacles. But it is in these moments of struggle that we find the true essence of our strength. We learn that the most breathtaking views are often earned through perseverance and resilience. Life's ascent is not solely about reaching the summit, but about embracing the growth that comes with the ascent. It is about embracing the lessons learned from each stumble and setback, knowing that they're not a stumbling block, but stepping stones towards greatness. This, in essence, is the very core of Dontnod's new game, Jusant. For me, this game was one of the most exciting projects revealed at Xbox Game Showcase 2023. This video is not your usual review, partly because I'm talking about a game which is not even out yet. However, before I delve deeper into what makes this game stand out, I would like to praise the publisher's approach to promoting this game by releasing a playable demo on Steam immediately after the game's announcement. If you ask me, this is the best way to instill confidence and garner interest, and I hope that this game can become a model for other publishers in the future. On its surface, Jusant may appear like any other action puzzle adventure game. In the center of the gameplay is a well-working climbing game which continuously introduces new challenges to the player as we ascend to new heights. However, with these new heights come new mechanics and tools, innovative ways of overcoming these challenges, and a multitude of paths that can take us forward. On our way up, we have to keep an eye on our stamina meter as to avoid being caught by gravity. If we do happen to run out of power or make a mistake, we can be saved by a trusty rope, which is automatically attached whenever we begin to scale a new area. I'm not a huge fan of stamina systems and graphics, as they are an easy way to ruin immersion, so perhaps it would be nice to be able to at least turn off the visual indicator, especially since it only takes the push of a button to fill up the stamina level again. Overall, however, the gameplay feels well grounded as it makes use of the shoulder buttons on the controller to direct the arms when climbing. That being said, the game does have its issues with controls whenever we're on solid ground. Here, the controls feel imprecise and unreliable, making it unnecessarily difficult to navigate along slopes and hillsides. Overall though, the game is easy to pick up and largely intuitive even for new gamers. It does feature a basic collection of accessibility settings, which I would still like to see expanded for the full release. However, it is beneath the surface that this game really shines. Just like the vague description on the publisher's website, the game never openly tells the player what it's about. Instead, we slowly discover its core themes as we make our way through the game's sun-baked earth and up its staggering heights. Jusant, the French word for ebb, can best be described as a post-apocalyptic world where all water has gone, and with it those who relied on it for survival. The playable character is thus merely a means to an end. Much of our climbing experience is driven forward by garnering the player's curiosity. As we climb upwards, we come across deserted fisher homes, remnants of an earlier civilization which saw itself unable to keep up with the changing climate. We find letters and diary entries which offer brief insight into the fears and hopes of those who have gone, and the more we uncover, the more we find ourselves wondering what exactly might have occurred. In this regard, the game world is the silent star of Jusant. The game is set to feature varying biomes, although the demo version was limited to just one. Still, it is full of flora and fauna, which add to a great atmospheric feeling while discovering. So far, the game neatly incorporates the gameplay mechanics into the game world. It is easy to tell which elements and walls are scalable without ever appearing out of place or being highlighted too obviously. Occasionally, this almost peaceful atmosphere is underscored by the game's tranquil soundtrack. However, I also felt like the use of that soundtrack remained too shallow, as there were entire passages that were only filled by sound effects. Clearly, there are parallels to the challenge of climate change and how we deal with it. However, the game never once takes an educational or condescending path, implying that there's an easy, straightforward solution. Instead, it provokes thought by depicting a fictional world where past inhabitants found themselves unable to put up with this task. What remains is the question itself. Once disaster strikes, how do we continue? What will we do? Will we leave behind what we once called home? Will we try to hang on for as long as possible, knowing that we may have lost the fight even before it began? Having experienced the devastating consequences of natural forces myself, the game clearly struck a nerve with me in this regard. I've seen people give up their homes because they weren't mentally able to possibly put up with a similar issue again. Likewise, I've seen people who did everything they could to return. There's no shame in either way. Jusant, however, invites us on a journey to uncover this mystery as it masters the art of environmental storytelling. At its core, this game flourishes through player-driven discovery, and although there's a certain distance between the player and the playable character, the gameplay mechanics help bridge that gap. As we use the shoulder buttons for climbing, squeezing the triggers makes it easy to connect with the protagonist. In some way, we share the burden of that steep battle upwards. Again, this is not your usual review, so I most definitely cannot and don't want to offer anything resembling a judgment. That being said, I remain fascinated by what this game has to offer and whether it will be able to fulfill its potential. Therefore, I highly recommend downloading the demo. It's available for free on Steam and should run fine on most machines. If you do, or if you already have, I would love to hear your opinion on Jusant in the comments section. Thank you for watching and see you next time.